This is the newly redesigned 2024 Chevy Equinox EV, and as of right now, this is one of the cheapest new vehicles that you can lease. Before I even start showing you around the Equinox EV, I need to start breaking down some of these numbers. There are a ton of rebates that are available for the Chevy Equinox right now. If you qualify for absolutely none of them, zero rebates, you will get a $319 a month payment, 10,000 miles a year on this $50,000 Chevy Equinox EV. And that $319 a month is with $0 down. Now, if you were to go ahead and put, like, let's say $2,500 down, you're gonna have a payment around $250 a month. And just for an example, I qualify for quite a few rebates. There's some of them that are just crazy. Like, you currently own a Chevy, you currently don't own a Chevy, a bunch of random stuff, you currently own a Tesla, whatever. There is so many unbelievable rebates, but with the ones that I currently qualify for, I could lease this Equinox EV for $219 a month with $2,500 down. Hello everybody and welcome to Apple Autos. My name is Austin and today I'm going to give you a thorough tour of the Equinox EV. If you'd be willing to help support this channel, please hit like, hit subscribe so I can continue bringing you great automotive content. But I want to go over this thing and figure out why in the world you can lease this $50,000 Equinox EV for literally like nothing. $319 a month with $0 down on a $50,000 car is practically unheard of. That is an extremely good deal. Just for an example, like a competitor to this, like even like a Bronco Sport is over $100 more a month than that on a lease. So why in the world is this thing so unbelievably cheap? With it being so dang new, let's give it a thorough tour on the outside and inside, take it for a drive and find out. To start off this tour, let's start on the outside, specifically up front of the Equinox EV, where if you guys aren't familiar, for 2024, Chevy decided to come out with a gas variant. You can check out the video up in the corner right now if you're interested in that one, and an electric variant. And this is what we have here. This is the all-wheel drive version of the electric new Equinox. With the all-wheel drive variant, you can expect to get about 315 miles of range if the conditions are perfect, obviously, and it's beautiful outside. If you get the front wheel drive variant, which you can get for at least even cheaper, just so you know, like way cheaper, which is ridiculous, you can expect around 285 miles of range, somewhere in there if it's warm. Just a heads up, if it's cold out, like in Minnesota, if you're reaching temperatures of -20, like we do here, you can expect in winter that range to diminish by about 25–30%. Ultimately depends on, you know, how loud you're listening to your music. If you got your heated seats on, all that stuff affects the range, of course. So just a heads up, you could be expecting like a 250 mile range if you're heavy on the throttle in winter. That's ultimately your decision to make, however, and I think that's a big reason why these are so cheap, is there's so many people out there with these EVs that have range anxiety and so many people that aren't interested in pursuing them, but they're starting to sit on lots so long that rebates are really starting to kick in, and they're starting to get so unbelievably cheap to the point where it doesn't even make sense. As an employee deal right now, like $219 a month for a $50,000 car that I don't have to pay for gas for, that I can charge at all my work locations, is amazing. Like, that's so unbelievably cheap. That's kind of hard to comprehend considering I pay close to that in gas a month. So these vehicles really are starting to become quite appealing. Even though the range thing is kind of scary, you almost have to justify it for how cheap they are. It's crazy. On the front end of this thing, I really like the design. Like, this is actually a super good looking car. I'm a huge fan of the look of it. I don't think there's really any denying the fact that it doesn't look good. This like cool design that they put inside of the plastic mimics the rear. It looks really good. To some people, it almost looks like it's crushed or folded in a way, but it's like this cool diamond design, this fake carbon fiber design that crosses the whole front, this light bar that spans the whole front, some cooling for the battery down there in the corner, some cooling up front. Here's your radar for the adaptive cruise control system. So much cool tech and so much cool design is put into the front of this thing. Very aerodynamic, very sleek looking. Really big fan of the way that the front end of this thing looks. You got your headlights sitting down here inside of this crevice, and this guy that's on right here is just your daytime running light. Front camera here for your 360-degree camera. I think this thing looks great up front. Let's check out the side of it. Simply just walking up to the Equinox EV with the key in my pocket, automatically deploying those cool door handles. You cannot tell me that that is not cool on a vehicle for right around $300 a month. Like, what cool modern tech that we have on this thing. This is your charge port right here on the side of the Equinox EV. This massive door unveils where you plug it in to keep yourself nice and charged up. Super cool design, very slicked on the side of this thing. I love the roof body line that they have going on here. It gives it a very sleek and sporty look, and overall I'm a big fan of the side design as well on the Equinox EV here. I also like the wheels that are on this particular model. These are some 5-spoke wheels that we have on here, finished in gloss black. Great looking set of wheels. It appears that we have a set of 21s in the both front and rear. Pretty big set of wheels for this thing. Let's check out the back side of this, but overall, I don't know how you could possibly complain about this vehicle with the price point it's at. Like, it looks so good. Run back of the Equinox EV. I almost kind of wish they would have carried this window line a little bit further back to make it more of a coupe-like design, but it's weird. This is the one part I find a little bit strange about this car, is the back-end body design language. I just wish they would have kept the swoop going, opposed to just kind of ending it, coming to a dramatic, yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of weird looking to me. I'm not a big fan of the rear end design. It kind of looks like a duck bill in a way. It's not bad, but it's not my favorite. I do still think this is incredible though, with this cool LED light bar across the entire back. I love the gloss black and gray accents. There's like no just unpainted plastic on the outside of this thing. Like, all of it looks really nice. All of it looks really high quality. Along the bottom side of the side of the vehicle, forgot to bring up that it's like a black chrome finish, but all in all, this is like a gorgeous looking car. There's that design I brought up that I really like up front. If you noticed on the side as well, the Equinox logo, the E is replaced with 3 blue lines to obviously signify that this is an electric vehicle. Really, really cool looking. I think this is great. It doesn't look cheap at all. I don't think anyone that sees you going down the road is ever going to guess what you're paying a month. The key for the Equinox EV is a nice looking fob here. All you have to do is get in and press the brake to start it up. You do have lock, unlock on it, of course, and you can also remote start it from the key fob as well as open up the lift gate. Let's start in there now. The inside of the trunk of the Equinox EV is pretty roomy. You can easily take off this little bucket here, which is actually super helpful for loading like 2 layers of groceries in. You can actually put 22 pounds in here, so it can hold a decent chunk of weight, even though it's just this flimsy plastic. So you could easily throw like your eggs and stuff in here and the heavier groceries down below. So I definitely think that's a pretty cool design in back here. Of course, our rear seats do fold down quite easily by just simply pressing this button here. We can fold those seats down. They do not, of course, power fold down or power fold up, so you just have to walk over there and pull those up nicely. But you do have a lot of room in here when you do fold those seats down, and all in all, you have quite a bit of storage in this thing. You even have this large compartment under the back. So even though it's an EV, the battery sits nice and low inside of this model, so there is a ton of storage inside of this thing. You may be thinking, since it is an EV, that you have a frunk. However, you would be heavily mistaken, unfortunately. On the Equinox EV, the powertrain is actually hiding under the hood. You have no additional storage up there, but that is what powers the Equinox EV in all of its glory. And what's kind of funny, this motor mount down here looks very similar to like the 3800 series V6 that GM used to make. It used to kind of sit the opposite way, but what a similar design motor mount. That's kind of a fun little throwback in design there, but it's just so interesting. I'm sorry to our technicians, because this looks like such a pain to work on compared to any gas-powered vehicle, and it's just so interesting seeing how the inner workings of this thing work being full electric. Just so crazy to me. As we move into the backseat of the Equinox EV, I actually wanted to bring up something if you guys aren't familiar with. I know that the range is greatly diminished in winter. However, if winter driving is something that you're quite scared of or something that you don't thoroughly enjoy, the all-wheel drive variant of the Equinox EV, or even the front-wheel drive compared to a gas-powered vehicle, because their computer systems are so much more in tone with the electric systems inside of the car, the reaction time and the traction control and the StabiliTrak and the way that everything operates is like millions of times faster than a gas-powered vehicle. Like, I can't even comprehend how much faster that stuff reacts, integrates, knows what to do, because of the way that the EV powertrain basically communicates with it, because it's kind of like all one unit. It's just a big computer basically mixed with a battery. So your reaction time and the ability to drive in winter should be increased in an electric vehicle versus a gas-powered vehicle for that reason. Now, sitting in the backseat of the Equinox EV, it's super comfortable back here. At 5'11", I have approximately 2.5 inches of headroom. I'm comfortable with where I'm sitting up front, and I have about probably 7 to 8 inches of room between my knees and the front seat. Super comfortable place to be. We have ourselves like this nice leather finish. It's very plush, it's very comfortable. I like it back here. I have a couple of vents. It's very cool. It looks nice. It's aesthetically pleasing. On this, like, it goes from leather to this felt material, but it's like a black layover felt with red under it. So it kind of matches this red to gray theme that we have going on throughout the entire interior. It's really, really nice. And this thing's like totally decked out with options too. You know, heated steering wheel, heated front seats. We have these cool LED lights up front, this cool LED light in back. We have adaptive cruise control. We have lane keep. We have like this massive screen and super, super fast advanced tech that's powered by Google. So all of this stuff for $50,000 for the MSRP is, it's great. And when you look at the lease payment, it's just unbelievable. It's nutty how much you're getting for that payment. It's truly, truly impressive, because a lot of people are paying more than this car's payment for totally base model vehicles. So it's very, very, very impressive. I really like it back here. I also have a couple of USB Type-Cs to keep myself charged up. Let's go ahead and hop up front and see what that's all about. Sitting up front in the Equinox EV, very, very comfortable spot to be, even more plush than the back seats were. I really like it up here. It's very comfortable with where I have to put my arms. You'd be very surprised how big this vehicle feels behind the wheel. Like, I feel like if I leaned all the way forward, I still couldn't touch the windshield. It's like 3.5 feet in front of me. It's very, very far up. It's this massively sloped windshield, which kind of makes the reflections a little bit weird. And I also can't stand the reflections just sitting in here not driving. Like, this thing's like a big mirror, these two big screens. I love the tech, I love the way they work. They're great at night, but holy cow, when it is sunny out, the reflections in here are terrible, like absolutely terrible. The screens need to be brighter, or they need to not use a black finish or something, because I mean, it's just a big black mirror sitting right in front of the driver here. But here we have our heated steering wheel. All of our steering wheel controls look quite nice. Mostly everything is done through the screen, except we do have physical climate control buttons, which is quite nice. All of our light functions are done through the screen. We have a few commands down here, wireless phone charger right down here. However, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't get my iPhone 15 Pro Max to charge on there. I even took the case off. I even took this rubber lining out. I cannot get it to work with my iPhone 15 Pro Max. I got it to like quick light up and then shut off and then light up, but I am having a hard time getting it to continuously charge. So being as that is one of the greatest selling phones, I think that might be a little bit irritating. Also, just a heads up, this vehicle does not have Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Chevy decided to ditch it because they basically said that their drivers were too distracted while using it. So that's kind of a downside for sure of this. However, you still have this Google powered system with Google Maps and all of that stuff. So it's like an Android device that's very quick and very responsive. It's like a new Samsung is powering this whole thing, is my easiest way of describing it, or a new Google Pixel. It's really slick. It works really well. It integrates with everything inside very well, but you don't have Android Auto, you don't have Apple CarPlay. I think that sums up everything I have to say about the exterior and inside of the Equinox EV. Let's get behind the wheel and drive this thing and then summarize this video. Now, getting behind the wheel of the Equinox EV, it is such a quiet and smooth ride. That is one thing that I absolutely love about electric vehicles, and there's no doubt about it when comparing to a gas-powered vehicle, is that the electric powertrain truly makes these feel like luxury vehicles. They are so unbelievably smooth. The power delivery is phenomenal. Just everything about them feels so refined compared to a gas-powered car when it comes to luxury. And there is zero question about it. You cannot beat just how nice they ride and how instantaneous the power delivery is. There is no comparing it. Compared to the gas-powered variant of the Equinox, this thing is 1,000 times more fun. Way more fun to drive than the gas-powered variant of the Equinox. Granted, yes, I mean, it needs to charge and you can't just stop at a gas station to fill up, but you cannot beat how smooth this powertrain is. So if you're looking for ride quality that can compare to $100,000 cars that are built for luxury, then you need to look at an EV, because if you haven't had the chance to experience one, I think from a performance perspective, EV makes sense here and there. It's like a microwave, right? Like it cooks things faster, but it's not necessarily the greatest outcome. It's a lot more rewarding to drive a gas-powered car when you're pushing it to the limit, when you're having fun around a track. However, there's no question about the fact that when you're talking about luxury, I feel like an EV just wins in all ways. It's more comfortable, it's smoother, the power delivery is better, it's quieter. I just think EVs are amazing cars when it comes to commuting, and they're so comfortable and quiet and smooth. Like, having this smooth riding experience in a car that costs what this does a month is not comparable. It is so nice. The tech in here is so great. The exterior has such a good body design. People look at it here and there because it looks cool. It sticks out on the road. This interior is fantastic. I love the ambient lighting. I love all of the red accents. It feels like something special in here. It's just crazy to me, like, how cheap this is. It really is so impressive behind the wheel how cheap this vehicle is. It makes no sense. It feels so much more expensive than it is. And it genuinely feels quick. And it's also fun in normal mode. You can just kind of barely hear it sing a little bit. But when we pop it over into sport mode, listen to how much louder the speakers get on the interior. It just starts to sing to you quite a bit louder. And it also has some more aggressive power delivery. Check out how quick the Equinox EV accelerates as we straighten out the wheel here. It really is a quite quick vehicle. It's so much quicker than the gas-powered Equinox that's currently on the road. It's amazing. The one thing that I can't stand in here, though, I'm not going to lie, are the reflections. Like, they're terrible. These two big gloss black screens looking directly at you. I mean, I feel like I'm just looking at myself in a mirror, which is kind of annoying. Like, literally, I just feel like I'm staring at myself. Obviously, you guys can see my arm and my phone that I'm using to record, but when I set my phone down and I'm just paying attention and not recording, I literally just feel like I'm looking at myself in a big mirror. I can see my face, I can see my arm sitting here. It's way too reflective in here. I'm not a fan of that. That power delivery, just instantaneous. It's so much fun. It really is quite impressive how nice of a driving vehicle that this is at the price point that it is at. I think that sums up my behind the wheel driving summary of the Equinox EV. Let's go ahead and wrap this video up. I'm genuinely surprised at how good of a car this is for what you can pick one up for. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this tour of one of the cheapest new leases that you can currently buy. I'm curious what you guys think of the Equinox EV. Let me know down in the comments below. I just still can't even wrap my head around the payment that's currently available on this car. I'm personally having a hard time deciding if this is something that I should pull the trigger on, but it's just crazy how cheap they are. Like, that's unbelievable to me. Like, not having to pay for gas. I have a very short commute. If you guys have a short commute, this is a great option if you have range anxiety. 10,000 miles a year. And it's so cheap. It's just crazy to me. It boggles my mind. And I'm curious to see if these vehicles continue to sit on dealer lots with some of these incentives coming out. And if they do, how much cheaper that they're going to get. Because I'm genuinely curious. At what point are we going to be seeing $99 a month leases on some of these EVs that aren't selling? So I'm very curious as to what's in store for the future of the Equinox EV, the Blazer EV. Oh, I totally forgot to mention the Blazer EV. You can pick one of those up for only like $50 a month more than an Equinox EV, and it's even bigger. So that's also crazy. If you're interested in a Blazer EV, be sure to check out my video up in the corner where I go over and show off that cool SUV as well. I'm a big fan of the Equinox EV. I think it's super cool. I think it's a lot of car for the money. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below.